Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Let's Have It Presents Culture Vultures with me, Alan Thomson. And my guest today is a very good friend and a very funny man, Mr. Dean T Beirne.
Hello again, Al. How you doing? I'm not going to clap myself. I mean, that's like...
I mean, it's a pretty small room and a small crowd, so you can clap yourself if you want.
I mean, there's self-belief and then there's that.
That's
like...
very true. Very true. We're actually talking about that earlier. But how are you doing? You all right?
Not bad, man. Just as we're recording this, it is the second day of the Fringe, and my head is fucking jammed full of comedy stuff. So it was nice to just take a wee break and talk about something that I fucking love. This is a fucking great idea for a pod, by the way, man. It's good to be back in here.
I meant to say, the first 10 minutes we had said we're not going to swear, but I told Alan, and I didn't think I need to tell you, but that's 3 F words in the one sentence, which is very good.
Yeah.
We're getting this one monetized either, Crookie. We're all right. The Fringe, what's the script? We had Alan on last week. As this is going out, the Fringe is over. So, what are you expecting from it? That's what I done with Alan. I was saying, what would you expect for the Fringe, and then come back and watch this and say,
well, fingers crossed. What we're getting from the Fringe this year is just me, Kyle, and Alan running out 20 minutes of our best stuff, trying to hone that every day, maybe change it around, tighten where we can, try new jokes in there, try selling it with different crowds, and then from beyond that, just like trying to make it. So it's just like what you're doing with gigging, really, when you're doing compilation shows. You're just focusing on... You can treat it almost like a new material night. Because people have come there to see us because they like the pod or whatever, and we'll give them like our best that we can that day, but we'll give it some room to throw in some new stuff in there if we want to do that. So it's a nice fun wee exercise. Doing the Fringe can be a very lonely experience, but I'm glad I've got Alan and Kyle in my corner and we can just all cry about it together.
Yeah, as a pretty humbling experience as doing the Fringe. I mean, I think like performing on that is brilliant, but flying is got to be the most demoralising thing I have ever done in my life.
I mean, if you saw me coming down the street with a flyer, I mean, I'd turn and run the other way.
But it's not even, it's like giving people a flyer and then them like, oh, thanks very much, and walk away and watching them putting it in a bin, if you're lucky. Other folk just kind of scrumple it up and chuck it in the flare. It's a very humbling experience as flying for your own show.
Does it even work anymore is my question, because we've got the Edinburgh Fringe app now, and I feel like if you're coming to the Fringe, you know what you want to go see anyway.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I'm going through on Tuesday. I'm doing a show with Roddy Cairns. He's got one with Ryan Baxter.
I did see that. You're doing it for one day
only. Yeah, Ryan can't do it for a day, so Roddy asked me to do it. So
shy bag.
Aye, 30 days or nothing. But no, he's asked me to do that, so I'm going through there, and we'll take in a couple of shows I've booked in for Kristen Woody, and then just walk about and seeing who I bump into and what shows I've got on. All right. Support the boys.
Well, because like you did a solo show last year that I supported. Yeah.
Yes,
have you ever thought of taking that through on like your own wee venue? Like,
I've got an idea for a show. It's going to be movie based. So I'll
Chris Thorburn will be knocking your door down.
I know. It's kind of movie based,
strangling you with his mustache.
But I mean, it's material that's going to be based on. Well, I might need to speak to him about it, but I'm sure there'll be no overlap. But
I mean, how many times have we seen shows about ADHD or dead dads? I think you'll be fine.
Very true. He's no TM'd. He's no trademarked.
Speaking of which, look out for my debut next year.
Oh, aye. So, speaking of dead relatives, we're here to speak about how that's pro stuff. We're here to speak about Spiderman.
Yeah, the OG dude with dead relatives.
Yeah,
he's got a couple of dead relatives. His mum and dad, his uncle, several girlfriends, several best friends.
Yeah,
I don't know how he's still swinging around, all happy.
Yeah, exactly. He's like hitting it with quips.
Aye.
And it's like, everyone you love is dead.
You know that the thought has gone through his head that he might thinks, oh, I could just get my webs and I could make a nice wee noose for myself.
Exactly. But
just wait till like the South Park guys get their hand on Spiderman and that's happening.
So I put it out there for people to come in here and talk about things that they love. So why Spider-Man?
I absolutely adore Spider-Man. Like Peter Parker is my favorite fictional character of all time, and that includes a list with people like Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye and all these like great literary characters. I've loved him ever since I was young. I was like a wee 6-year-old at the time going over to my granny's house, and she had this VHS of what I think was the 70s Spider-Man TV show, but they had packaged it into a movie, so it was like Spider-Man versus the Dragon Empire or some shit, and it's just like a bunch of crime bosses. It looks very dated now, like, you know, he'll be shooting webs out and you can tell it's just someone throwing a rope from off screen, but I thought it was still dead cool. Beyond that, I had like the PS1 game for Spider-Man back in the day, which has a lot more of his bad guys in it. You got like Doc Ock, the sexiest version of Venom I've ever seen. God, I mean that the voice lines that you get that was my first experience to Venom, and he's just running around licking Spider-Man, being like, "Come to Papa." Which I found out the other day he's voiced by Darren Norris, who famously voiced I think it was Cosmo in Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is like an insane CV that guy's got, because he voices Mysterio in that game as well, where he sounds a little bit more like Cosmo, but he also voices Venom, and he voices J. Jonah Jameson in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, basically, I loved Spider-Man since basically that game, the animated series from the 90s, and the Raimi movies. I first saw the first Spider-Man film by Sam Raimi when I was about 7 or so on a VHS again, and I just remember thinking it was the coolest thing ever, because I find Peter Parker to be an extremely relatable character. Like, I mean, I know everyone says this about him, like, you know, high school kid, nerd, because back in comics, back in the olden days, the teenagers in it were usually like the sidekicks, like the Robin and that kind of stuff. Spider-Man, I think, was the first one where I thought, let's take a look at the sweaty dweebs who are buying these comics and let's make them the hero.
I don't understand how it's not everybody that loves comics, how Spider-Man isn't everybody's favourite, because it is just them as a superhero.
Well, I suppose like I think the most common favorite types of superheroes are like, you got your big three like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. Probably you'll throw in like Iron Man and Star-Lord in there now. But I think the reason people love those two is like Batman is kind of like a cool power fantasy kind of thing. You know, he's like the James Bond of superheroes in a way.
Yeah.
And like, we don't relate to James Bond, but we think he's awesome. And Superman, a lot of people hate on Superman. I'm sure Rory Spence is going to explain this a lot better than I am when he gets on this fucking podcast. Thank you for taking this subject before I could get it, you long-haired piece of shit. Just kidding. I love you, Rory. But please come on BSF. We'll get you on soon. But yeah, like Superman kind of gets a lot of hate because people think he's very boring and Boy Scouty and goody two-shoes. But the thing that makes Superman great for me is that he's a guy with all this power in the world. He could easily rule the world like that, and yet he chooses not to because of how he was raised. With Spider-Man, I think you've kind of got a mix of the two, because it's like a masking thing, because as Peter Parker, he's the relatable nerd that gets bullied and shoved into lockers and constantly beaten down, always has bad luck, the Parker luck, and that's something I really related to as a kid, because I always found myself in like really unlucky situations. I would get beat up a lot, I get called a nerd, and then when he puts on the mask, that's kind of like the power fantasy thing, and he lets more of his like quirky, funny personality come out, and I think that just makes for a very fun hero. And I've always loved the story of the one thing that makes Spider-Man like really great is the whole with great power comes great responsibility thing. I think from a storytelling angle, Spider-Man ignoring his responsibilities like a teenager would when their power gets to their head that way, and then in making that one mistake loses his uncle. I think that's a really compelling storyline thing. That's very motivating. That's relatable. That's tragic. And it just, from then on, you know straight up why he's going to be a superhero now, and you're there with him the entire time. I also think he has possibly the best rogues gallery in comics. I will put it above Batman's rogues gallery, I think Spider-Man's villains are all so vastly different. Like they could all have their own comic series if they wanted to. And I've got a couple of my own favorites, but that's more or less why I love Spider-Man. Everything about his world, I just adore. Like
very, very succinct. So who would you say would be your favorite villain?
My favorite Spider-Man villain is not one I think a lot of people would go to. I love Electro.
Right.
I think, like the similar thing with Peter Parker having all this power bestowed upon him, Electro is a guy who starts off as a complete nobody. In the comics, he's like this just electrical engineer guy. He's working on some power lines, gets zapped by lightning. Boom, he has like electric powers. And I love the idea of a guy who's a nobody and has nothing in the world now getting involved with all of the power that he could ever have in the world. And what does he use with it? He becomes a criminal with a lightning-shaped starfish mask called Electro. And I think that's just a nice fundamental thing of a lot of Spider-Man's villains is that they are brilliant and smart people, but they are fundamentally flawed and let down by their own pride and ego. And that's what keeps them as bad guys. Plus, they're all like they all challenge him in different ways. Like Electro forces Spider-Man to think outside the box with how he's going to physically fight him because he can't touch him or he'll die. Someone like the Green Goblin, who's his arch nemesis, I think is a really compelling villain because Peter Parker's always looking for a father figure in his life, and Norman Osborn kind of fills that. And then there's also the thing with Harry in there. Like Harry's kind of jealous that Norman sees Peter Parker as like the son he really wanted. And then with Norman becoming the Green Goblin, that's just a nice little dichotomy there of like him losing another father figure to like, because like Norman Osborn's very similar to Bruce Wayne, I think, but if Bruce Wayne was also the Joker. And it's a really fun little dichotomy there. He's also done the most damage, I think, to Spider-Man, at least Peter Parker's like own life. We of course know he killed Gwen Stacy. But yeah, I think I would put Green Goblin and Electro as my top two, but there's not a Spider-Man villain that I dislike. I think they all have their high qualities. They're all really unique in their design. They're instantly recognizable. And there's a reason that they have been played by so many great A-list actors over the movie things. Like, I never thought I'd be in a world where Michael Keaton, Jake Gyllenhaal, Willem Dafoe, Jamie Foxx, and like Alfred Molina are all playing Spider-Man villains. It's just really cool to think about.
What did you think about Jamie Foxx's Electro though? That was a bit.
You know, when he got cast, I remember this very clearly because it was right when I was getting into talking about movies online. I just got my first film critic job. And that was around the time when he got cast. Django Unchained was just coming out. And I instantly thought, like, that is perfect casting for Electro because it'll be like this cool kind of Old West gunslinger-y kind of guy with electric powers. Him going up against Spider-Man. Sounds great. What the fuck were they thinking making Jamie Foxx look like a dork for the entire movie? Like, I get what they were going for. They wanted to do kind of like a sympathetic, like a big super fan of Spider-Man kind of creates this relationship with him in his head and then gets let down by that and then becomes a bad guy. I like that idea, but that movie's messy enough. And I don't think Electro really gets the chance to shine as a villain in that film when it's gotten all these other elements that it's going for it. I think Jamie Foxx's portrayal, you can tell he's doing the best he can with what he's been given, but if you look at his performance in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 versus his performance in No Way Home, you can tell which one he had more fun doing because he got to just be cool, cocky Electro in that. And that's what I've always seen Electro as, just like this really cocky guy who's got all the power in the world and is always getting in his own way.
My favourite villain, like when you said you wanted to do Spider-Man, I was right up for it because I didn't really need to do a lot of research because he's my guy. But Doc Connors, to me, I love him. The thing where obviously he's lost his arm, so it's just became an accidental villain where he's obviously trying to give himself. Is it chameleon?
It's a lizard DNA, and it's like DNA. A Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Yeah,
so he's gave himself lizard DNA and just becomes kind of full lizard eventually. It's just. I guess just so well written as well. It's Steve Ditko and
Steve Ditko, Stan Lee back in the day,
and then like the first ever comic I've got it in the house and things like that. It is just like a geek who's kind of made it really. And then when I became like really into it was the Sam Raimi films. That was like my first like kind of experience with Spider-Man. But you were saying a TV show for the 70s?
Yeah, it was back in the day. They had this amazing Spider-Man TV show where Nicholas Hammond played him, and it was, you know, he's not going to, in the 70s on the TV budget, he's not going to be fighting people like Doc Ock and Electro or Mysterio or anybody like that. He's just fighting regular kind of criminals.
Oh,
and
really?
For what it is, I think it's very fun, but it is very of its time. I think they did bring him back for the Spider-Verse movies as well, the guy who played him.
Oh, really?
He might have like a little voice cameo in one of them,
nice.
Yeah, that's... I mean, it's if you compare it to the Spider-Man movies we've got nowadays, it doesn't really hold a candle to them, but if you look at it for what it is, it's dead fun.
So it's not animated? It's
No, it's
real
live
life?
action.
Oh, I had no idea that existed. 'Cause I had there was obviously the kind of cartoon version of, I think it was, I can't remember who has done it. Anyway, that I got right into that as well. I think, but was that in the 80s, early 90s kind of thing? Or?
Was it the one where I think it's like the 90s Fox Kids one? Yeah. It's the 90s animated series.
So I really, really loved that. And then I don't know if you know the TV series with the animated series with Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, I love that. That's got a really cool kind of Ninja Turtles 90s body horror vibe to it. The version of Electro on that, I really that's what Jamie Foxx's was going for, I think. Like, because Electro in that's also kind of like a nerdy dude who gets bullied, but then his portrayal of it's a lot more like Columbine-y than
yes, it is. Because he's getting, they're trying to get him into, well, he's in college at the time, and he's trying to get into like a fraternity. And they take him down the stair, and they all decide, no, he's not getting it, and shoot him with paintballs.
And they just humiliate him. He becomes Electro, and then kills them all.
And then he's I can't remember the lassie that he kind of likes, is it like Sally or something like that? And then he tries to like touch her, and
that's very reminiscent of like body horror stalker things. Yeah. Like Spider-Man's always had like a kind of body horror influence, like especially the Sam Raimi ones, because he came from the Evil Dead series. So it probably, I think it informed my love of horror as well.
Yeah, true.
Like a lot of his villains are body horror experiments gone wrong. Like the Lizard, I love the story of the Lizard, like, but I do think the movie version of him fumbles it a little bit because the heart of Dr. Kirk Connors is that he's a guy who just wants his arm back, and his family are the one that humanize him, that keeps him like grounded in that. Yeah. They take out his family in the first Andrew Garfield film, and it does do a disservice to his character, I think, because he just feels like another bad guy.
Yeah. He's just basically all about his work and kind of nothing. Who played him in the
Risa Fans?
Oh, so it was.
Who did do a great performance. Really good, but I think if they had Dr. Connor's family in that could have been on the level of like Alfred Molina as Doc Ock.
Aye. I mean, there have been a lot of kind of recent Spider-Mans, like from Spider-Mans.
Lots of Spider-Mans. Aye. Spider-Them, Spider-Men's, Spider-Womans, Spider-Gwens.
Spider-Gwen, that's true.
Oh, she's cool as fuck too.
Yeah. But it was kind of always seemed to get rebooted. I mean, like there was the third one.
I've been alive for 3 live-action Spider-Man reboots.
We've been spoiled, but do you think, like, obviously with the newer ones, you're getting all 3 of them together? Do you think, I've always thought that Andrew Garfield deserved kind of better? Like, I thought he was really, really good.
I think Andrew Garfield is the best actor to have ever played Spider-Man. And his movies aren't the best, but you can tell he loves that character, and he really gave his all into like the soul of who Peter Parker was. And he did, unfortunately, get done dirty by Sony. But I'm glad that they brought him back for No Way Home and also gave his character a little bit of closure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the thing with like Gwen Stacy and things like that. Like when they spoke about him, and was it No Way Home? It wasn't No Way Home, was it? What was it called?
I'm sure it was No Way Home. That's when they all come in together. Yeah, it's No Way Home.
When he talks about it, like he's just, you can tell he's completely shattered as a person. Like he's just completely done in, and you would be with accidentally killing your girlfriend, which is got to be. I love that story as well.
It's so tragic, but it's like the ultimate cost of a lot of superhero stories is that they can't have normal lives.
So, for people that don't know the story, go for it.
So in this storyline, the death of the Stacys, it starts off, I think, a couple of issues earlier where Spider-Man's fighting Doc Ock, and Doc Ock causes a building to break down. Captain George Stacy, who's basically like Spider-Man's equivalent of Jim Gordon from Batman, like they work together and stuff, rushes out of the way to save a kid from the rubble and ends up getting crushed. And that gives him a little bit of guilt. He thinks, oh shit, I can't be with Gwen anymore because she might get killed. Eventually, a couple issues later, they're all like, we're together now. You know, I'm trying to be happy with Gwen because I love you and whatever and all that kind of stuff. It's very sweet. And then the Green Goblin comes back, stalks Spider-Man for ages and figures out his secret identity, and then kidnaps Gwen Stacy in hopes of getting him out. And in that scuffle, the Green Goblin is fighting Spider-Man, and Gwen Stacy falls over the Brooklyn Bridge. Spider-Man goes to try and catch her, and then as soon as his web hits her leg, the whiplash causes her neck to break.
And she dies.
And then she dies, and you see Spider-Man go the absolute nuts. Like, he's not been this angry since he found out who his uncle's killer was.
Yeah.
And just beats on the Goblin. Right before in the comics, he says, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to kill you because Uncle Ben wouldn't like this. But right before that, the Green Goblin set his glider to try and impale him. Spider-Man jumps out of the way. Glider kills Green Goblin. So in that, Spider-Man has lost his father figure, he's lost his girlfriend, and he's lost his best friend.
Yeah.
The guy needs a fucking break.
Yeah.
The world just
He's a
keeps
therapist.
beating him down, man. But what's inspiring about him is that he always gets back up. And as cheesy as that sounds, that is why I love him as a character. I find that very inspiring.
Yeah, he's I always thought in the Sam Raimi films, obviously they killed Green Goblin before Gwen Stacy ever come into it.
Yeah, I think that's because that was the era of superhero films where you never really had recurring villains. You would have the one villain for a movie, and then they would get killed off. And you're not going to kill the Green Goblin off in any other way besides the glider.
Aye.
But they went for the angle of that's going to be what sets up Harry Osborn hating Spider-Man. And then that informs him throughout the rest of the trilogy. And then he eventually becomes the Goblin in the third one, which they did. His execution's a little bit messy in that, but for the most part, I like the storyline of that. Harry being so consumed by revenge, trying to kill Peter because he thinks he killed his dad. He won't hear it out from him. Then eventually comes to terms with his dad's death, and then fights alongside Peter in the finale. A lot of people cheer for scenes in Marvel films where Captain America lifts Mjolnir, or fucking someone fights Thanos or whatever.
Yeah.
My big cheer moment when I was a kid was watching Spider-Man 3 in the theater, and then Sandman's just about to kill Spider-Man. Venom's holding him down. You think he's dead. You just see a little pumpkin bomb go into Sandman's head, and then Harry Osborn come in to save him and help him fight those two. It's just the eruption of cheers in that theater was just, I've never forgotten it. I was 11 years old at the time, and it was probably the happiest I'd ever been.
I was a proper cheering.
Oh, yeah, because they properly do a great job of making you love and be connected to not just Spider-Man's relationship with his villains, but Peter Parker's relationship with his family, essentially. Harry, Mary Jane, Aunt May, and all that. That's the great thing about his world, is that all of his supporting characters are just as important as he is. And they don't feel like they're just the accessories to his story. They all feel like a part of Peter Parker's story, but their own person at the same time.
Yeah. I've always kind of liked there was the kind of love triangle between Mary Jane, Spider-Man, and I suppose you can put a few people in there, but it would have really been kind of Harry Osborn and things.
Harry Osborn, Flash Thompson, Gwen Stacy in there. Yeah.
But it is basically just what you always wanted when you were in high school and stuff like that. Is I want to be mysterious. I want to be able to help people as well. I think that's something that Spider-Man kind of resonated with a lot of people because it was us.
Yeah,
as I said before, it is I absolutely love Spider-Man, and I think always will. but it's I'm reading now. It's Ultimate Spider-Man. It's just come out in 2024. It's
the very new one where he's like a parent.
Yeah,
I've read a couple of issues. I haven't read all the whole thing yet, but from what I'm hearing, they're doing some really interesting things with it.
So I'm reading it now, and it's like Uncle Ben's still alive, because I think I can't remember what it's called. Invasion Wars? I can't remember what it's called. But somebody goes back in time and like stops all these superheroes becoming superheroes. So he stops Hulk becoming Hulk, and then stops the spider biting Peter Parker, and then I think it's Tony Stark coming back, or it might make more sense if it's Doctor Strange. But they come back and they say, right, take this, get back off a spider, because Uncle Ben's still alive. He's running a newspaper with J. Jonah Jameson.
Aye.
So they're like kind of all pals and stuff like that. Aunt May's dead, but Uncle Ben's still alive. And then it's basically him coming back, whoever it was, I can't remember what one it is, and basically saying, right, you need to take this to become Spider-Man and kind of fulfill your destiny and stuff like that. It's really, really well written. I'm only in issue 2 at the minute, but it's really
that's about where I got to. I mean, that's an interesting thing, because a lot of things that you get from the criticism of Spider-Man stories is that they keep him in high school for too long.
Yeah.
And I like Peter Parker being like a lame dad.
Aye.
Like, that's kind of fun, and that fits with how Peter Parker sees himself in the world. Him having a son and a daughter, I think, is quite fun. We've never seen that explored on film before. I would love to see them eventually get to that. I mean, I know they have Peter B. Parker in Spider-Verse has like wee Mayday Parker as a baby in the last one. That was dead cute. But I'd like to see more adult Spider-Man stuff like adapted for films and that, because it's not really been tapped into yet. We always like Peter Parker as a high school student.
But right, before we continue any further, you have voiced Spider-Man.
I have on a few occasions, yes.
What do you mean?
So I voiced him in a video with Brown Table, the nerdy YouTuber guy, who he made like a little sketch of, I think it was Batman from the Batman series from the 2000s and Spider-Man meeting. And he just had me do like Josh Keaton's Spider-Man voice from the Spectacular Spider-Man show, which was really fun. From that, I got cast in an adaptation of Spider-Man Life Story, which the guy making it was just going to do like a sort of audio drama kind of thing of it. And Spider-Man Life Story is the story of Peter Parker from the 60s, but he gets older as every decade goes past. So he's a teenager in the 60s, in the 70s he's in college, 80s he's an adult, 90s he's like a father, but they still do all like the key Spider-Man stuff from it. It's a really interesting, like, because the characters don't age in comics really, but it's like a really interesting real time kind of version of that. And so I voiced Spider-Man in that. And then the guy who was making it decided to scrap the entire project after I'd spent ages pulling my heart into voicing Peter for it. And I mean, I was gutted. I've still got some of the lines saved on my fucking Google Drive, but I don't know, just getting the chance to voice that character was really fun for me, because I've grown up loving him. And like, I feel that Tom Holland's Spider-Man, that's kind of like, I love it because he's the same age as me, right? When I see him playing Spider-Man, I look at that thinking, holy shit, that's a kid who I could have gone to school with and geeked out about Spider-Man with, now being Spider-Man. That is so cool.
He said it was his kind of like his dream to play. He's
done and like Halloween. I know what I look like. I'll never play him in live action, but getting to voice him was dead fun, because it's just it's a fun little sort of cheeky teenager kind of thing, kind of Marty McFly kind of voice that I did for him. It was like, oh yeah, I'm Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Like that kind of stuff. Like that sounded more Green Goblin-y. Like if I don't know, I know there's a line he does where he's where this is what I auditioned for it with. There's a fight where he fights Shocker in the Spectacular one, and Shocker's just like, he's got like a pure Texan accent. He's like, you know, it really ain't wise to make a dangerous man look foolish. Then Spider-Man's just like, you don't need my help for that. You look in a mirror lately?
Is Shocker, is that the one? Oh, no, I'm thinking of something else. But he's getting chased off Venom, and it's like a proper shit.
Yeah. Shocker!
I thought that was where
you can't escape me.
Oh, that guy.
I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. Just as well we've got water. Fucking hell.
That's right. Aye, that's the bit I was talking about, which is
Yeah,
very
Shocker's
well
a really fun villain too. Like wrapped in a quilt, he can fire compressed air out of gauntlets, and he gets made a joke of in a lot of things. But see, when writers properly love him and they make him like cool and a threat, he's awesome. Like one of the better Spider-Man villains.
I don't think I've ever read or saw anything with Shocker. Well, obviously I've saw that clip, but nothing else.
He was quite popular in the video games growing up. So when they adapted like the Raimi movies into video games, Shocker was always a boss fight in them, and his characterization in them was really fun. There was one level I always got stuck on in the 2002 one where Shocker basically has you cornered in an abandoned subway, and he's firing his blasts down it, and you have to web sling your way to him without getting hit by them. As a kid, it was so fucking hard. I can do it pretty easily now. But
I see when you go back and you play the games, you're like, how did this take me so long? But I mean, I take it you've played the kind of newer.
Yeah, I love the Insomniac take on him. That's it kind of brings in everything that I love about the world of Spider-Man and does something new with it.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'm playing through 2 at the minute.
What have you gotten to on it so far?
I can't remember. I'm fighting a guy. That's all I know.
Because that's a really good take on the symbiote story, that game.
Yeah, that's it's there's so much you can do with Spider-Man as well that that game series could live forever, really. And
more or less. I have a feeling it's just going to be a trilogy, and then you might get spin-offs from it later on. But I love what they've done with that game series. It's really fun. The symbiote storyline's also like you never really realize this when you're a kid. Like, I think when you're young and you love Spider-Man, you like Venom because he's like a big hulking alien monster and he just looks cool. The symbiote storyline, and if you've not seen it before, I'll just sum it up like this. Spider-Man essentially gets a costume that's made up of black alien goo. It crash landed on Earth. In the comics, he wore it on like Secret Wars or some shit, but they've changed it up for a lot of the series. He just crashes the Earth. He gets it, and this suit is like a high for him. It gives him enhanced strength, enhanced powers, but it's also sort of removing the responsibility side of him. And it's because you think Spider-Man is a guy who's been beaten down so much in his life. He's lost all these people. You think he probably bottles a lot of that up, and with the pressures of just being a regular teenager. And the symbiote I've always seen it as like a story of addiction. I don't like I think the idea that the symbiote is evil, therefore it makes Spider-Man evil, I think is a bit lazy. The symbiote, I think, wants to help him, but it's an alien. It doesn't fucking know how. It kind of removes the empathy that Peter Parker's got and lets him vent out some of these feelings that he's been bottling up, kind of like a metaphor for drug addiction in a way, because it makes him isolated from all his friends. He thinks, all I need is me and the symbiote, and he puts all of his rage into it, forming a real relationship with that thing. And then he realizes that it's actually doing a lot more harm to him than good, tries to get rid of it, it refuses to back down, eventually gets rid of it, and the symbiote itself feels rejected because it loved Peter Parker. And then, depending on what the story is, usually it'll go to Eddie Brock or some cases Harry Osborn. And then all the rage that it feels against Peter Parker, that's what creates Venom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Like,
the best take on it, I think, is in the Spectacular Spider-Man TV show, because in one episode he gets it, and it's at a really low point for him in his Spider-Man career, and he's like, oh, this is fucking cool. In the next episode he's got it, he's fighting the Sinister Six again, and the symbiote kind of takes his body for a joyride. He's fighting them, but he's not conscious when he's doing it. It's like the suit's wearing him. And then in the episode where he takes it off, he's not fighting any villains in it. It's a very introspective, character-driven, let's look into the psychology of Peter Parker kind of episode where he's just fighting his inner demons, which are represented as the symbiote. And for the entire first season of the show, Eddie Brock's there, and because of Peter Parker being Peter Parker and doing Spider-Man stuff, he's pissed off Eddie this entire thing. So then when he takes the symbiote off at the end of that, and Eddie Brock shows up, and he's like, oh, you brought the symbiote back. Now I can get my job back. And Spider-Man's like, no, I have to destroy this thing. It's way too dangerous. And when you see the symbiote go on Eddie Brock, you're like, holy shit. He's now become Venom. This entire relationship has been set up, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. Like I remember being so excited for that because it came out, I think, 1 year after Spider-Man 3 had come out, and not many people like Spider-Man 3's take on Venom.
Yeah.
But the Spectacular Spider-Man's take on him really gets the emotion behind Eddie Brock, I think, a lot better, and just makes him a lot more compelling as a character, I guess. If you've never seen the Spectacular Spider-Man and you are a Marvel fan, go and watch it. It's fucking fantastic. Yeah. Best adaptation of Spider-Man there's ever been.
Oh, really? Okay. So, as we know, Spider-Man is, when he's fighting, he's very kind of unserious, and he uses a lot of jokes. See, this is me doing another segue. Do you like it?
Very smooth.
And
very
you
smooth.
yourself are a comedian. So,
it has been known.
Yeah. So, do you remember your first gig? We're going to go back to the very first of everything.
I unfortunately do remember my first gig because I filmed my entire first gig.
Did you?
I was hanging out with Kyle and Alan a couple of days ago, and we decided to put it on YouTube, and watching it back again was probably the most painful experience of my life. It wasn't like dog shit.
Yeah.
But you know yourself, when you've been doing comedy for a while and you go back and look at all the stupid mistakes you used to do, it just hurts you a lot more. Because I'm like, oh, fuck, why was I doing that? Why did I word it that way? Why did I do that? And it's a thing I've noticed when you've been doing comedy. I think I've been doing it for just about 3 years now. And the thing I've noticed now is I've got a lot more control of how I say stuff on stage. There's a bit more of a rhythm to it. There's a bit more of an art to how it's crafted and everything like that. Back then, you're just rambling and being like, oh, yeah, so here's my first joke. Yeah, here's the punchline. And here's my second joke. And here's my second joke. And here's the third joke. And here's the fourth joke. And yeah, ha, 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 why are you not laughing? That's kind of how it goes. It's like really rambly. And totally, I don't know. I think I've come a long way since, thankfully.
Yeah, I've learned kind of fairly recently is how to just like sit in the silence, like not having to think, oh, nobody's doing anything, nobody's moving. It's just like right.
Because sometimes you have to let a joke breathe.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than just writing a joke, and having it being funny.
Yeah, there's an element of showmanship to it.
Yeah. It's a real interesting craft to actually like sit there and think, right, this joke would go here, it wouldn't work here, but it'd be hilarious. Yeah, it's just how to tweak it. The only way you're really going to get good at that is by doing it as well. Like, did you do a comedy course?
I didn't do one when I started. I think I just missed the deadline for Viv G's when I started, so I just went out and gigged. And then learned that way. I did a comedy course after I did the BBC New Comedy Awards.
Oh, did you?
It was Viv G's advanced one. Did that with a couple of other people. Some folk who we know like Hitesh Rathore and Fudgy McFadden and all those kind of folk. Just because like I felt like, okay, I think I'm good at doing the comedian side of it, but there's other skills that I want to learn. And Viv G's, obviously she's Viv fucking G. She's one of the best. If I'm going to learn anything, I want to learn it from her. And doing that was a really fun experience because I got to do things that I've never really tried before. I got to try what hosting was like. Learned a couple of new writing techniques on how to think about jokes, how to turn topical stuff into material as well. And I think I left that course trusting myself a lot more on stage. Yeah. And lately with how I've been doing comedy now, I used to be dead rigid. It would sort of be like... I'm here, I'll do my set, and then I'll leave. And my set would usually go, like, well, but I think part of being a great comedian is trusting yourself to the point where you know your material, you know your structure, but you're not confined to it. You can just have fun, and the focus is more on building a connection with the audience and having fun with them in however way you want to do that. You know, you're just having a conversation with them at the end of the day. Like, because if you're so rigid to... okay, this is what I've got to say, this is what I've got to say, this is what I've got to say, you can come off sounding dead scripted, a little bit confrontational, and I think that makes for a lesser experience, at least for the kind of comedy that I want to be. I know there are comics who do go for a more scripted, deadpan, or like confrontational kind of tone, and they can make it work, but that's not the kind of style I do. Yeah,
very true. I've recently kind of tried to go a bit deadpan, but I was doing, for Fringe on Wednesday. It was the kind of preview day, but it was doing the rap battles. So I'd take up and do like 5 minutes of material, and the people in the front, they were just up for a good time. So I'm like, I'm not going to get in after MC Hammersmith and
the fucking king of comedy rap battles,
yeah,
him and fucking Neil.
I can't remember the other guy who was with the American guy, but they were both, they told the roof off the place, obviously, but there's only 7 folk there, and I thought, I'm not going to get in there after they've done that and then be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? So you just kind of need to get in and kind of work with the crowd you've got, you know, play with the hand you're dealt, as they say, and just kind of went and just done jokes, but kind of laughed with them, kind of thing. But so it's interesting to get the crafty, like how you're going to present yourself, depending on who's gone before you or who's coming after you, kind of thing. And it's really interesting that it isn't just about jokes, doing funny things. I mean, ultimately that is the goal. That's what you're there to do, is to make people laugh. But it's how to get the peak laughs by working with your surroundings, kind of thing. And it's really interesting. But I don't know if I'd be into comedy courses, but no, you've kind of opened my eyes a wee bit to
comedy courses. I mean, they get a little bit of flack, I think, amongst the scene. You know, people kind of go their noses up at them, like, "Oh, I don't want to have to pay to be funny. You don't have to pay to be funny." It's like, fair enough. There's a lot of comics who I think are naturally funny and maybe don't need them. But there are also, I wouldn't beseech anyone who started from a comedy course. Susie McCabe fucking started from a comedy course. Like Paddy Linton, Mikey Motion, Amanda Hersey, all did comedy courses. And it's, you get out what you put into it. But also, I would say some of the danger with comedy courses is that they can make you a little bit confined and too much of a safe kind of spacey thing. Right. You can learn the basics from them, and you can like know how to write and how to perform a little bit. The way you will get better as a comedian is by going out and gigging. Yeah. Like, you can't just graduate from a comedy course and be like, hey, I'm a headliner now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I always kind of thought. It's like, I don't think MD can teach you to be funny, but that's not what the comedy courses are for. It's to teach you how to perform.
It gives you the basics, but the rest of it's on you. The one thing I would say is great to do, and yeah, I'm going to give you a plug because I fucking love you, mate. Des McLean's one-on-one sessions. I've done a couple with him. Anytime I've had like a TV gig or something big coming up, I've always gone to Des with like, okay, this is the set that I want to do. How can I make this the best it can be? And what Des will do is he'll sit you down in Harry's Bar, or Studio H as he's called it now. He'll get you to perform your set as you. He'll act as the audience member in it. And he will give you pointers on like, okay, tighten this up. Maybe you don't need that line. Maybe just like sell that a little bit more. He'll never try and turn your jokes into his jokes. Right. He is very persistent about, no, you have to preserve what makes you good and what your voice is. And Des has a really great eye for knowing what style of comedy best suits you. Yeah. And I would say to anybody, if you don't want to do a comedy course, but you do feel like you're a little bit maybe trapped in your material, or you've got a big thing coming up, spend the fucking however much it is, get in contact with Des McLean, and you'll walk away feeling like a much better comedian. Yeah, and both times I've done it, I've walked away feeling fucking really confident about what I'm gonna do.
Aye, I know. I've gigged with Des before. I'm gigging with him at the end of August as well.
Oh, where are you doing?
Shots.
I don't know if I have done
the Marbles Club. I've not done it yet. I think I've done quite a lot, but I'm going to say I've done the majority, and then he keeps popping up with new gigs, which is brilliant. So,
yeah, he's one of the best people in Scotland to work with.
Yeah, he doesn't pull any punches either. I mean, no.
But it's not in a dick way.
No.
It's pure honesty, and from him wanting you to be good.
The first time I met him, I sent him my hot water clips, and he's like, hey, this joke you're doing here. I'm like, aye. He's like, I'd never do it again.
I love that kind of brutal honesty, though. Like, you need that if you want to be good.
Definitely. So, BBC New Comedy Awards is coming back round again, but last year you got into the final.
I did get into the final. Opened the King's Theatre, didn't win the thing, but I had a great time doing that. Yeah. And really, whoever gets the Scottish heat this year, whoever wins that, if you see this and you want to ask what my experience was, or if I can help you in any way, send me a fucking message. I'm more than happy to help. I hope whoever does it has a great experience with it. I know a couple of people who are doing the heats. I'm gonna go through and watch the heats this month and just see who gets through in that. I'll probably speak to the producers about getting into one of the semi-final heats just to watch in the audience, because I know how I felt when I won the Scottish heat. I felt equal parts excited and equal parts terrified, because I was like, okay, this is a really great opportunity. A lot of the work I've done's paid off, but also if I fuck this up, I'm never going to live it down. And a lot of that fear was really getting to me, and I felt kind of alone with that, because who do you really talk to when you have things like that? Like, it's such a, as great as it was for my career, there was a lot of self-doubt that came from it as well, and thankfully, people like Stephen Buchanan, who won it in 2018, he messaged me, said oh, congratulations, good luck. If you need any help, let me know. Mark Jennings also gave me a lot of great advice for playing somewhere like the Kings, CMB, Dez, Susie, Liam Farley. All were more than happy to help me out when I was feeling the most pressure I've ever felt in my entire career. And I was feeling all of those nerves and pressure until the moment I walked out on stage. And then it was like game face. And just did my set, did what I believe was the best I could have done at that time. I do look back at that now and I think, I wish I didn't do that bit. I wish I'd had that bit written in time for that. But that's part of the game, and once again, whoever gets it this year, if you're feeling that kind of pressure as well for the final, feel free to send me a message. I'm more than happy to help out.
Well, I mean, you're obviously a success story of comedy competitions. I've been in 3, I think.
Which ones have you done?
2, actually. The most recent Laurel Awards, and
that was a really fun final.
Funny. I heard. I didn't make it, unfortunately, but so I'd say that to Alan on a previous episode where I'd done it and I kind of thought I should have went through, and it kind of bruised my ego more than anything else.
That's the thing with comedy competitions. The only harm that's going to come from them is the bruising to the ego you will get for either not winning, not progressing, or not even being seen by the people who are booking it. I mean, everybody was there that kind of booked it and stuff like that, and it was a good experience. But I think the way that if I were ever going to do them again, I'd probably need to just treat it as a gig and not as a competition type thing, because I was right up for doing the BBC New Comedy Awards, because you'd put it up and I'd clicked on the link and stuff, and I thought, right, I'll go and do these Laurel Awards and then I'll come back and see how I feel about it, and it was just like, nah, I can't. How long have you been in comedy now?
3 years. 3 years in September with a 6-month break in between.
You might be able to do it next year.
Aye. I mean, I'll see how I feel about it. I don't know. It just kind of came at a bad time because I'd just been kind of.
I get that, man.
Kicking the nuts.
You've got a very I reckon, with your personality on stage and your comedy persona, you could definitely do the BBC New Comedy Awards. You're a very likable guy. You've got really unique jokes.
See, I thought that as well, but apparently not.
I think it's true, man. Don't let lack of progress in the competition let you stop that. You're a fucking good comic.
Thanks, man. But I just don't think competitions like me. I just don't think
I've thought that about entire comedy scenes before, man. And honestly, I mean, I wish I could be good at taking my own advice, but I think it's it's your head that's convincing you of all that. As long as you're doing your job, enjoying it, and being sound, there's no reason you can't progress in comedy.
I feel as if I'm still kind of progressing and stuff like that. Even this, doing this with the amount of kind of people that have got back to me and wanted to be on it has been,
because it's a really good concept.
I thought that as well. I love that. The reason obviously I started it, even, with anybody talking about anything, see if you're passionate about it. I love listening to folk that really, really like something, and it's good for me to come in and kind of learn stuff for you and Alan, Tom, and kind of everybody that's kind of been on already. It's just. It's selfish to bring you in and talk about this, but I feel as if a lot of people do want to do want to come in and talk. Like, for example, you've got your Blood, Sweat and Fears with
Mhm.
Alan and Kyle. So
Yeah.
that's been going quite well.
It's been going well. I think it's I'm the way you're doing way you do comedy podcasts that I've learned from doing this one for the last year. It's almost like learning to be good at comedy from the start again. You have to learn what makes a podcast fun to listen to, how you promote it, how you get it seen by people. And I've been pretty bad for that for the past couple of months because I've been putting up clips. I've been lazier with getting clips put up and trying to do so much as well as gig and like write and all that. And it can get very overwhelming at times, even though I love doing that pod with Kyle and Alan and just having a place to geek out about horror. Actually growing it, I'm a little bit stuck now. Like, it's going at a decent rate, but it's not at the rate I would want it to be.
Right.
Like, and that's kind of on me. So I'm I don't know. I'm looking at other strategies to kind of figure that out, because I think that podcast is a fun concept.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
I do believe we can make it into something great. I just feel really stuck on where to go with it now. To make it grow. I often wonder if I'm doing something wrong, and that's why it's not growing.
I mean, that's again just getting in our own heads into it. But I mean, like, I think doing the live show as well with Viv at the festival, that'll be.
It was a great, just as well, because we had talked about getting Viv on for it, and then I really wanted to do a live show for our run, and we couldn't get. We probably left it late to book a guest because everyone had done it, and I thought Viv's show was right before us at Bateco. Let's just get her in and do The Exorcist. That'd be really fun, because I love working with Viv. I love talking with Viv, and as this goes out, I hope people came to that show. But you'll probably see that again. And I don't know, man. Like, I'm trying to figure out other ways that we can grow Blood, Sweat and Fears as a brand as well, because I hate having to think of it as a brand, because it is something I just invented to have fun. But realistically, if I want to let this thing grow, I have to start using that fucking degree that I got from uni and put my brain into gear for it, man. But it's
social media and stuff like that, and promoting yourself is something that I'm so bad at, man. Like, I don't record anything because I don't want to watch it myself. You know, this is getting recorded, and I'll need to obviously watch this myself. But I hate it. I mean, again, it's just getting in your own head and thinking you are rubbish at everything. Stop doing what you're doing. That's automatically where I go, and it's like, I'm only rubbish because I've heard these jokes 100 times. You know what I mean?
You're your own worst critic. You're always self-analyzing what you're doing, like, every step of the way, man. And that's a trap that you can fall into quite a lot when you're doing any kind of creative thing. Totally. You're always comparing yourself to maybe other people in your field as well. But what I've tried to learn is that, like, other people in your field are getting their success because they've also worked hard as fuck to get it. And if you want to get there, you've also got to work as fuck. So stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself and get on the fucking cowboy up, as my late dad would used to say.
Exactly. So who would you say your comedy influences are? Do you have any?
I think Pete Davidson. Like,
really, right.
I remember watching a lot of his stand-up before I started, and it was something that I loved about the way that he turned what was a very tragic event in his life. Obviously, his dad was killed in 9/11, and turning that into something funny. And it was never like the kind of funny where it's like, oh, my dad's died, feel sorry for me. It was like, yeah, my dad's dead. Here's some jokes about it. You know, that's clearly how he works through it. But I like that it's all about the funny with him.
Yeah,
and
true.
I've tried to do that with some of my own experiences, like growing up in foster care, being in the closet when I was in a country that would kill me for being in the closet, feeling like I have rejection sensitivity dysphoria as well as autism. So, like, when you really feel rejected, it can, like, emotionally cripple you. So, like, that stuff with that Pete Davidson was talking about, I thought, okay, how can I take from him what he's doing there and make it all about the funny, and not make it like a really self-aggrandizing, like self-indulgent kind of thing, because I hate watching comedy like that. How do you take that and bring the audience along with you for the ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also my other biggest influence is Larry Dean.
Right.
I never thought I could do stand up until I saw him on the Apollo in 2020, because he's like kooky and weird and eccentric, kind of like me. And I was quite guilty of thinking stand up was just like, you know, a sort of straight man gentleman's club.
Yeah.
And I never thought like my goofy, weird, nerdy self would ever fit in a comedy club. But then I saw Larry doing it, and he made me think, oh, he's kind of goofy, weird, and eccentric, and he's also queer. Maybe I could do it. And then I've gigged with Larry since, right? And Larry's he's such a sound guy. Like, I absolutely love watching him. We went to go see his work in progress with Brennan Reese 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And he's, you know, I love it when your favorite comics turn out to be great people as well. Like, it's a really good feeling. Like, I won my BBC New Comedy Award Heat when Larry Dean was the host.
Yeah.
That
full circle.
Feels so full circle-y, and it's to like actually talk with him and work with him is so fun, because he's just you know him as like Larry Dean from the telly or from TikTok, but he's just a really lovely guy as well. And I just think that's really cool when your heroes turn out to be just like good people. Yeah. I've never met Pete Davidson. Who knows? He might let me down, but fuck it.
No, but it's been a real pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a pleasure.
Episode 5 we're on today. But no, thank you very much for coming along. And that was Spiderman with Dean T Beirne. Catch you later on, troops.
Later.